Welcome back to another My Hero Academia anime versus manga comparison video breaking down season 6 episode 17 and 18, The Wrong Way to Put Out a Fire, which happens to be the same title as chapter 301, and Izuku, Midoriya, and Tomura, Shigaraki, which shares the same title as chapter 305. This is a 2-episode video, so skip to the episode of your choice using the chapters below. We will be going over all of the changes made from the manga to anime adaptation, and of course if you are new to the channel then be sure to subscribe with notifications on so that you don't miss a video. And if you want to further support the channel, then please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button down below. To start things off, the episode begins with an added shot of the Himura household. The Himuras being a family of ice quirk users who I still believe Getten actually came from this family of quirk users, possibly being Rei and the Todoroki children's relative. Of course, it's just a theory, but it would make sense given that the family was once considered prestigious and Getten's whole view is basically once quirks should determine their place in society. There's a whole video on the channel about Getten possibly being a Himura, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Moving on, Endeavor gets an added scene further explaining the purpose of a quirk marriage that shows him, Rei, and a baby Shoto. All Might is also included in the explanation as it was Endeavor's goal to have a child with a perfect combination of his and Rei's quirk that could surpass All Might. When Dabi sheds a blood tear, the anime didn't adapt the tear of blood falling into the family's past. It was a cool transition done by Horikoshi in the manga that would have been cool to see done for the anime. As Natsu was born, the anime added a scene to show the seasons changing leading up to his birth. The anime also adds a scene of Endeavor at home getting frustrated seeing All Might on the news, which replaces the panel of him getting frustrated at All Might's success while he is out on hero duty. Shoto looking down at his siblings playing with each other is now slightly changed to now have Toya with white hair instead of the red hair that was depicted in the past. Endeavor's flame beard is also removed from this scene. Toya getting upset at hearing Endeavor training Shoto in the training room is changed to him being upset at Endeavor for walking away with Shoto to go on and train. It's a slight difference from the manga, but I will say him overhearing the training probably would have hit harder than just seeing them walk off to go train like in the anime. Dabi now narrates his change in fire color instead of either Enji or Rei. When Hawks talks about the current state of Japan, the panels of a destroyed city and civilians fighting off villains is replaced with scenes of the Tartarus breakout and civilians stopping the Cider House gang. Each of the heroes' silhouettes shown from across the world have all made appearances in the My Hero Academia movies, more specifically the 2 Heroes and World Heroes Mission movies, them being top Egyptian hero Salam, Elect Plant, Singapore's top hero Big Red Dot, Sudanese hero Nai King, and the final hero who I won't spoil for now, but she does make an appearance in the 2 Heroes movie. It's great to see that the movies and their canonicity are being acknowledged in the manga and the anime right now, so please, for those of you who still believe that the movies aren't canon, they are. Hawks is given an added shot as he says that things are different now with the Todorokis, showing him and his burned wings poking out from the back of his clothes. Hawks is also given some added dialogue once he hears that All Might asks to be alone with DEKU. The episode then ends with All Might feeling that DEKU is currently talking to the predecessors of One for All. Now, season 6 episode 17 covers a total of 3 chapters, them being chapters 301, 302, and 303. This episode was honestly nearly perfect in my opinion. Everything about it, from the voice acting, OST, and animation, was great. I did see some people having problems with Hawks using his phone to talk during his conversation with the Todoroki family, feeling as if it took away from the scene, and to me, it was perfectly fine. It literally happens in the manga, so the anime perfectly was able to convey his emotions through the OST, and it still came out perfect in my opinion. Regardless, it was a great episode, so let's move on to episode 18, Izuku, Midoriya, and Tomura, Shigaraki. Right off the bat, before DEKU enters into the One for All world, the anime shows a select few people that DEKU was worried about, but in the manga, he lists off a ton of people such as Rocklock, Mirio, Nejiri, and Manuel, to name a few. Once in the One for All world, we are introduced to the round table of the previous One for All users. Interestingly enough, to finally see this scene in the anime anime pretty much destroys the theory of Bakugo and Kirishima traveling back in time to become the second and third users of One For All. Plus, I also feel super catfished when it comes to the sixth user, and homie pulls up with a red jacket when throughout the series he's always been depicted as the blue One For All light. What the hell, man? When the fourth, Hikage, found out through All Might's vestige on how exactly he had died, the anime adds in a shot of All Might's vestige instead of showing the One For All world's void like in the manga, which to me is a good change. We also get a shot of the first four users all together during his explanation. Now, with Deku possibly being the last user of One For All because of One For All drastically shortening the lifespan of users who already possessed quirks prior to receiving it, that caused those cracks to form on the fourth's face, giving him that odd death of old age at only 40 years old, does not mean that it was Deku's destiny to become a One For All user or that he's some sort of chosen one. There has been this common misconception for a while since chapter 304 dropped that Deku was this sort of chosen one to be a One For All user, and more specifically the last user of One For All, when it's never been implied that he was destined for it to begin with. It's always been shown that Deku had earned his right to become the ninth user despite him being quirkless, and it's never said that he can't pass on One For All to someone else. The first just tells him that a normal person who already possesses a quirk cannot be given One For All because it would be basically sentencing them to death. So Deku can pass on his quirk to someone else, it just has to be someone who is quirkless. That way there will be less stress being put on that person's body due to them having only one quirk, that being One For All, to deal with and not two quirks. The problem with that though is that given the way things are in Deku's day and age, only 20% of the world's population consists of quirkless individuals. So finding someone who is quirkless and is willing to take on this great power along with the responsibility that comes with it is going to be very difficult to find, meaning that Deku could be the final user of One For All if he manages to take down Shigaraki and All For One. The predecessors are pretty much making it his responsibility to end this ongoing war between One For All and All For One. It's why Deku ends up leaving UA by the end of the episode, because of this massive amount of responsibility given to him by the predecessors and to also protect the others from harm. It's a bunch of responsibility for just one 16-year-old to handle, and we see by the end of the episode just how much this responsibility weighs heavily on his shoulders. Continuing on, Banjo's explanation of All For One using Shigaraki's hatred to override the powerful will and rule of a One For All user's refusal to submit to All For One in order to steal One For All, we get shots featuring the second, third, fourth, eighth, first, and seventh users. When Deku says that One For All isn't a power meant to kill, it's a power meant to save, the anime doesn't adapt the flashback panel of Deku watching that one video he used to watch when he was a kid of All Might saving civilians. As Ochako takes over the narration, the anime removes the scene of Principal Nezu at UA talking on the phone. For the final addition to the episode, we see Ochako sitting outside on the bench thinking about Deku after reading the note left behind by him, explaining everything about One For All and why he decided to leave UA. The episode ends with Deku having left the Hero Academia on top of a building, looking down at a destroyed Japan and heading off to fight a villain, causing havoc in it. Now, episode 131 covers a total of 3 chapters, them being chapter 304, 305, and 306. This episode was incredibly emotional. From his talk with the predecessors to him leaving UA was just perfectly executed in all departments. I will say the opening did do a better job at showing Rogue Deku looking over the city with the sky being much darker, plus the rain on top of it showing that tonal shift, but I still didn't mind the episode's version of it since it was a lot more accurate to the manga with there being no rain and all of that. Regardless, the episode was fantastic and I can't wait for the next one. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on both episodes 130 and 131. Did you enjoy the episodes? Let me know everything in the comment section below. With that said, thanks for tuning in to another My Hero Academia anime versus manga comparison video. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.